English 11 and English 12. Today I'm going to give you your lesson on the note cards. And I would like you to do 30 quote-unquote note cards. Yours are going to be electronic, so they're probably not going to be on physical note cards. It's just too hard to manage with you working from home. So yours are going to be electronic note cards, and I will show you one on my little whiteboard, and then I'm also going to type one as I talk. And I'm going to try to make this brief, and you may have follow-up questions, and just post them as like a comment on the assignment, and then everybody else can see the answer, or I will have office hours on Monday, or you can always email me. So, okay, here we go. I have my source and my works cited up. So on my works cited, I need to give each of my sources a letter. So my first source is going to be A, and my second source is going to be B. And if you have the 6, then you'll have through F. So you'll have A, B, C, D, E, F. So anytime you refer to a source, in your note cards, you're always going to refer to that letter. So this one's going to be A. So since my sources are all A, then anytime I take a note, then I reference that letter A, and it's that way for you. So I'm going to use the A, and then I'm going to add a number to my note card. So I'm going to make a new document, and I am going to title it Manatee Note Cards. Okay, so I'm going to pretend like I am ready to do my first note card. So this little screen down here on the bottom is kind of small, but I'm going to show you what I've made. So you would skim through your source, and only one little nugget of information goes on each note card. This shouldn't be like a paragraph of notes for one note card. It should be one little piece of information. So basically this article, I've read it, it explains when they do their surveys, which are like counts of the number of manatees that they find in Florida, where they count them, what kind of conditions they need to count them. They take into account like the temperatures and the wind and the physical conditions of the weather. And they make a claim up here that like this count is not claiming to be a population study. We don't know the population of manatees. We just know an estimate, or we know how many times they were spotted at this particular time, and they're doing like 2-day time period at 2 locations. So basically what I just told you, that would be like a summary of the source. So there are 3 types of notes you will take. Hopefully this will come up for you. Okay, so you can take quote notes. When you do a quote, you are taking the author's words, you're putting them word for word into your notes, and you are putting the information in quotation marks. A quote note should only be information that needs to be quoted because it's said in an original or unusual way, or there's just basically no other way that you could improve upon it. So that's what a quote note is. And if you do a quote, then you would put it in quotation marks. That's how you keep track of it being a quote. Okay, second type of note that you would do is a paraphrase. So it's just taking the information. You're not directly like making a huge alteration to the length of the space that it takes. So you're not like making it a whole lot shorter. You're just putting it into your own words. And then the final type of note, I've already wiped off my S there, is a summary note. And a summary note is you take your words and then you put it shorter than the original. So I am going to do in my document that I will share with you, I am going to do one of each type of note so you can see what those would look like in real life. Okay, so this is our pretend note card. So bless Dollar Tree, this is where my little whiteboard came from. So it's got some little like numbers or letters at the top, but we're just going to pretend that our note starts here. Okay, so each of your sources, or each of your note cards, excuse me, gets labeled with the letter of the source and then a number. So my first note card is A1. My second note card would obviously be A2. And when I switch to my second source, I would then be going B. So I would have B1 as my first note for my second source, and B2 is my second note for my second source. So when you switch sources, you switch letters. Okay, so I have my note down here, and it is just, in this case, it's just a couple numbers. And I've taken the first survey that they conducted, the number of manatees that they saw. So they saw 1,267 manatees the first time they did it. The highest survey that they had was in 2017, and it was 6,620. That was the most they ever saw. And then 2019, we have 5,733. So you can make a couple of assumptions based upon these pieces of information. There's either more manatees in Florida than there were when they started studying in 1991, or there are more manatees in these locations that they are surveying from, which may be a result of the improvements that they've made to make the areas more safe for manatees. So they've established some areas where the manatees can remain and be safe and not have to worry about the boats as much. So this is the information I want. I want the first number, the last number, and then the highest number in between. This is not like a whole bunch of information. Again, it's just like one little piece of information goes on one card. And then up here at the top of your card, you put like a 2-word summary. And this is a summary of the information on the card. It should not say manatees, because if I did that, every single note card would all say manatees. It should be a really brief little 1 or 2 word thing that is the number or is the information that is on this card. And the idea is when you sort information, then you can look at this really brief little snippet and you know what's on the card. So mine is survey numbers. It's got numbers on it, and it's numbers from the surveys that they did. And then this letter, mine is an S. I would like you to label your notes as either quote, summary, or paraphrase. Okay, so I'm going to type this as well. So I'm going to go into my document that I created, which was Manatee Note Cards, and we're going to pretend like this looks like a regular note card. So I've got A1 and I've got it out on the right hand side. And then I would, as I'm doing these, like as you're doing them, you would type your information. And these are my notes, so I can abbreviate however I want. So I did the number sign instead of the word number. And then at the top, I have survey, numbers, hyphen, summary. This is a summary. And then I am going to underline this just so I can see that this is the top of that card. And then I'm going to skip some spaces before I do note 2. So I've got just a few more minutes. I'm going to go ahead and do my A2 note card. And I'm going to go back into my source. Oops, that's not it. Okay, and I want to the current synoptic survey method provides a minimum count of manatees in the survey area, but because the number of manatees missed during the survey is not known, it does not provide us a population estimate. In addition, not all Florida waters are included in that survey. Survey flights concentrate on areas where manatees are known to gather in large groups during cold weather, but do not cover other areas like the Florida Panhandle or deeper, colder waters like the center of Tampa Bay. Therefore, an unknown number of manatees in these areas are not counted. Okay, so I want to just summarize this. So I'm gonna type my note. So I'm not going to look at the source while I do this. That way I'm not going to unintentionally use too many of the words and do unintended plagiarism. So I'm just going to say survey is not population, only a count of the manatees seen does not include Tampa Bay and deeper, colder waters. Oops. Okay, and technically that could even be 2 note cards because I've got 2 sentences, like 2 pieces of information. So I'm going to say not population, not cold water. Okay, so real brief summary. Again, just like a couple words. Mine's 4, which would even be pushing it. Okay, so that right there, I've done 2 note cards from this source. I've got 3 minutes, so let's pull a quote from here. And, okay, I want to quote the criteria for conducting a current synoptic survey. I struggle with that one. Since you're typing these, you have the advantage. You can just copy and paste it if you want to quote it. And that is exactly what I did. I don't have to worry about messing it up and mistyping something if I just copy and pasted. So I just copied and pasted directly. Because it is a quote, I'm going to put it in quotation marks. And I got to get my headline. Okay, so I am now A3, right? Because I am on still on A, and I'm now on my 3rd quote, or 3rd card. And criteria for survey is what I'm going to label that, and I'm going to put a Q for quote, and I'm going to underline it. So again, I have indicated this is the top of my card, and that's it. So I've done 3 notes from that source in about 13 minutes. I would like you to work through your note taking. I would like you to use my format. You don't have to do it after you get into comp. It's up to you what format you use, but I want to teach you one. I'm going to give you some time to work on your 30 note cards. I will probably be posting a lesson about outlining next week, but I plan for you to have probably about a week to take notes. Just take as many notes as you think you might need for your paper. Background information, establish, the history of your topic, what the history is of the people who are debating, like why are they not agreeing on the topic, and why do you feel or believe the way you do, and why should other people do that? And possibly, if you have the sources for it, what other people think about it and why they feel the way they do. So work on note cards, format them like this. Go ahead and just like before, don't send me the original document. You'll use it, make a copy, and then submit that. Got about 12 minutes, so FaceTime me Monday, Wednesday, 10 to 12, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.